Hi, welcome to my channel Ruby Net Crochet Tejido. Today I'll be teaching you how to knit these beautiful hats. They're super easy and fast to make. I hope you guys like it and give it a try. And here is the list of material you're going to need to make them. If you are not already a subscriber, please subscribe and click on the little bell. That way you get notification each time I upload a video. Remember, I make my videos in Spanish and English. If you receive a Spanish video and you want to see an English, go to the main page of my YouTube channel. There you will find the English version in there. Also, you can send me a message and I can send you the link. To make this hat, these are the materials that I'm going to use. This one is Charisma Tweed, 85 grams, bulky 5. The color is honey and it is 97% acrylic, 3% other fibers. This one is the Lufthansa Wallet, 100 grams, 48% acrylic, 46% wool, 6% polyester, is super bulky 6. And the color is gold and honey. You're gonna need a measurement tape, tapestry needle and scissor. This double pointed needle, if you do your hat circular, you'll need it for the decrease. If you're doing it with a straight needle, you don't gonna need them. My Chiagu circular needle, 6 millimeter with a short cable. This is a 8 inches 20 centimeters. If you're doing the hat circular, you're gonna need some markers. If you're doing it straight, only if you want to guide yourself when it's decreased time with marker, you can do that. This is the hat that we're gonna make. I already made this one to try the design and absolutely love it. I love the way it looks when you put it around with this border. It looks amazing. I did this one with a purple yarn, so now it's time to do it with this, because when I did this one I didn't record a video or anything, and I wrote the instruction in a piece of paper and I don't know where I put that piece of paper, so I have to wing it again. So that's what we're going to do with this one. I'm gonna leave a tail long enough to cast on 51 stitches, 50 for the hat plus 1 to close the circumference. If you are making this hat with straight needles, I recommend 50 stitches. You're gonna leave the tail, you're gonna do a slip knot exactly the same as you will do with a regular yarn. You see, once you pull, they will be the same size. So you're gonna come here and you're gonna cast on your stitches. You have to wiggle it around, that way they are the right size, they are not too big, and the gap in between the stitches is a normal gap like a regular cast on. So like this, I'm gonna cast on my 51 stitches. I have my 51 stitches. Now you're gonna make sure this is not twisted, and you're gonna see the one strand in here in the back. Probably I'm gonna get a lot of complaint, oh, you don't gonna see anything, but that's the way the yarn it is. If you're working with the yarn, you will see what I'm talking about. That you need to be very careful when you're going to close the circumference, making sure that it's not twisted. And it's perfect like this. Now I'm ready to close the circumference. If you don't have this type of yarn, but you have this other type of yarn, let me grab them. You have this type, or this one. You see, you can do it with any of this type of yarn, this part of the border, like this. You can do this. Don't have to be exactly the same. I love this, so I want to make a hat with this, or a color, I don't know. So to close the circumference, you're going to close exactly the same as you do with other hats. If you work in a straight, and then you will do a knot with a tail and working yarn, and then you're ready to go. But for mine, I have to close the circumference. So this part here is a little more fiddly because there we go. And I'm gonna close this here. It looks small, but that's what I did for this hat. And look at how wide that is. And once you do that, you're gonna place your marker and you're gonna do a purl round, the same as you're working with a straight needle, just like you're working regular yarn, just as you're working with this booklet yarn. This one don't want to pass through. There we go. Once you finish this round, I will measure here. So you're gonna purl all your stitches. That's grabbing. There, and you start to create this beautiful . I finished the first round. Now we're gonna work in the second one. If you're working with a straight needle, and then you continue with purl rows until you have 2 inches. I like the width of this, but you can have a little bit more, not a lot more. You can have 2 inches, 2 inches and 1/4, 2.5. Don't go over 2.5 inches. Okay, so that's what we're doing for our border. If you're working with a straight needle, all the rows are purl. If you're working with round, you will do now a net round. So you will do 1 round of purl, 1 round of net, 1 round of purl, 1 round of net. And this is a little bit fiddly because I have all these little strand, all those little booklet, and sometimes that's why you pull. You have to make sure that you pull where, you know, that you pass through, no pull, pass through the strand with the black thread, because you see that's the one that go on the top. So I'll continue working. My next round will be purl and then net. With it, you don't need to do a 1x1 rib or a 2x2 rib. Just do this. That's what I did for the other one, and that will give you the nice border. So remember, straight needle. All the rows are purl. With circular needle, you will have to do 1 of net, 1 purl. And then I will meet you here. You see, it's a little fiddly because I pull through, but I'm not supposed to, or pass through. So I'll meet you here when I'm done the border. And then we're going to start working with this. That will be much easier. I finished the border, and for this one I did 2.5 inches. And 2.5 inches is 6.5 centimeters. And now we're going to change to this yarn. It will be very easy now. And this is what I have left from this one. Probably with one of these balls you can do 2 hats. Maybe you have left over. So now we're going to change to the next part of the hat. Now I'm going to start with this one. If you're working with a straight needle, you're going to start in the right side, whatever side you choose. Now we're going to start with the next yarn. Now if you're working with a straight needle, you're going to choose which side you want for the right side. It can be any. And then with the tail of this yarn and the new, you're going to tie together and very close to that first stitch, and you're going to knit in the right side and purl in the wrong side. Since I'm working with circular needle, I just have to knit all around. So I don't want to place the marker in this one until I get to the end, because I'm changing yarn. So when I finish, I do the last one and no, I have to start a new round. So I'm gonna trap the tail of the yarn that I just finished, the booklet yarn, as I work. And I'm gonna knit all the stitches. I place that in between the needles. I lift it up and just pull the new one. And knit this stitch. And again, I put it in between. Once you finish this round, it will be much easier to work with a new yarn. And you're going to continue working like this and trapping that tail as you work. I finished that round, and now you're working with a straight needle, you will do a purl row. But since we're working with circular, it's just knit again, and it'll be nice and fast now. Just knit all the way around. Very easy now. I finished that round. Now you're gonna work until you have, let me measure well, to do the decrease. Seven inches, and 7 inches are 18 centimeters. Now if you're working with a circular needle but you don't have double pointed needle to do the top, you can do this hat, except don't want to have this nice shape in the top. You're going to be a little bit different, because you're going to work until you have let me measure well until you have a little over 8.5 inches, and then you will do 2 together, 2 together, 2 together, and then one round without decrease, and then another round with 2 together, 2 together, 2 together, and then you will sew the top of the hat, close the top of the hat with the piece of tail that you leave and pass it through the stitches. Now if you're working with a straight needle, you can do the decrease like this because it will be much easier because you don't want any double pointed needle. So you can do this hat any way you like it. For mine, gonna be with double pointed needle the decrease, that way I get this nice shape in the top. And it's nice and round for the head. So I'm gonna work net stitches until I have 7 inches. And then when I have my 7 inches, I will meet you here to show you the decreases. And remember, you're working with a straight needle, net on the right side, purl on the wrong side. And I think in over 2.5 hours you will have one of these hats done. It's really fast to do once you do the border. Probably in less than 2.5 hours. Here I have the 7 inches and I absolutely love the way it's looking so far. Now we're gonna start with the decrease, and we have 50 stitches, and then I'm gonna divide it in 5 parts the same, so 10 stitches for each part. So I'm gonna knit 8 stitches and 9 and 10 together and place the marker, and so on. Now if you're working with a straight needle, I don't recommend to do that like that, because and then you'll end up doing the last 2 together, and when it's time to sew, this is gonna be weird to sew that in the angle. So I recommend to do 3 stitches and 4 and 5 together, so the first 5 stitches, and then you will continue with the decrease 8 stitches 2 together, 8 stitches 2 together, and at the end you will end up with the rest of the stitch left over from those 10. Okay, and here the 4 stitches. So that's what I recommend, that way you don't have the decrease in the same part at the seam. So now I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 and 10 together. And that's what you're gonna do for this round of decrease. You're gonna place a marker and continue. I finished the round of decrease. Now I'm gonna do a round without decrease, and I'm gonna place my silicone fingertip, because this shagu, each time I push, they're very sharp, the point, and this started to hurt. I already had a little bit red there from pushing without it sometime. So now this is a round with no decrease. And those are the 2 round repetitions that we're gonna do. One with decrease, one without decrease. I really don't remember if I did all of them like that, or after a while I did the decrease in all the rounds, because I did this a while back. Over a year ago, probably 2 years I did this hat, and I had it there, and then I saw it again, and then I remember that I don't have any tutorial about it. So I look for the piece of paper where I wrote everything, and I think I throw it away. So if I do any changes, like for example, if I continue with 1 row of decrease and 1 without decrease all the way to the end, I will let you know. But if I do decrease in all the round after having probably like 6 stitches in between the marker, I will let you know as well. Okay, but that's the way you're going to do the decreases. And remember, if you're working with a straight needle, you'll go back with the row of purl. And if you're doing this without the decrease like this, that you're gonna do it without double pointed needle, remember you have to work for almost 9 inches and then do a round of 2 together, 2 together, 2 together, 1 round without decrease, 1 of decrease, and then cut a strand long enough to pass through those leftover stitches twice. Tie it really well, pass it through the inside, lose that tail, lose these tails, and then you'll have done your hat. but I'm gonna continue with this one with the decreases because I want to have a nice shape on top of the head. I finished that round of decrease. Now you have to do 7 net and the last 2 together. You always have to do 1 stitch less than the row before that you did the decrease. That way you do the 2 together at the end, but that's why I use markers. That way I don't have to count my stitches. I just work until I have 2 before the marker. I do those 2 together, and you can be watching TV, you can be talking to somebody, or you can just relax and don't have that worry that you're gonna miss a decrease, because the last 2 before the marker you have to do them together. So I'm gonna continue working the decrease until I have 2 on each space, but if I change to the double pointed needle, I will meet you here. I have a 6 stitch between the markers, and I'm gonna do decrease in every single round now until I have 2 in between markers, and I still have enough space to work with this circular needle. Maybe I don't want to use the double pointed, and I continue with the circular needle all the way until the end, just moving the cable around. That way I don't have to use the other one. If I do that, I'll show you anyway. I just show you how you can do this without having the double pointed needle, but I have the double pointed needle and I don't want to be struggling with pulling the wire. It's much easier for me to do it with a double pointed needle, so that's what I'm going to do. The next 2 rounds that I have to do, I will be with my double pointed needle, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to a shorter ones that I have. That way it will be even easier because I only have a few stitches left. So I'm gonna finish those 2 rounds and we are almost done. This is what I have left from the two ball of yarn. This one I can use for another hat. This one not as much, but maybe for a different project. And I have here the yarn that I use for the other one. I want to give you the color, and it's Charisma the same, but this one is not tweed, it's just Charisma, and the color of this one is Jam, and for this one is Fuchsia. But it's like a beautiful purple, and the camera look like almost like I have a tint of blue, but it's not. It's a beautiful purple, and they are amazing, both of the hat. So here is the hat finish. This one is a little more thick in this part of the hat than this one, maybe because it's the tweed. This one is a little bit more soft, but they're both gorgeous. And this one is just a little bit smaller, you see, just by a smidgen in this part, but both of them fit nice and they look amazing. Let me zoom out a little bit, that way you guys can see it a little bit better. Well, these are the hats, and they are absolutely gorgeous. Both of them are amazing. They look a little bit different because the type of yarn, but they look amazing. Here you're gonna see two pictures of me with them on, and you'll see how nice they both look. I absolutely love them, and they're super easy to do, and I hope you guys like it, and give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. And if you make any of these hats or any of my designs and you want to share with me, you can go to the main page of my YouTube channel, in the banner at the right side where you see the picture of the hat. This is in desktop. You can see the link of Instagram and Facebook. You click on those links and that will bring you to those pages, and you can send me some picture, any comment, anything. And please share my video with friends and family and in any group. That way you help me grow here in YouTube. I wish you have a beautiful day. Bye.